communicate any of your thoughts or anything that you desire to learn, we implore that you do open your mouth and ask these questions. If you ever thought about something about Hebrew during the week, note them down and bring them to the Friday Hebrew class, all right? My name is Hazahab, right? And what I want to go into today is some stuff that the brothers been asking me about for the past 2-3 weeks now, is about what we can eat. Okay, so I want to get into some things about what we can eat. Okay, the stuff that I want to say. I want us to leave today with us knowing how to say I'm hungry, or stuff that's like, what do you have to eat? Right? I want us to get into things and phrases like those. And we're going to get to it, right? I want it to be very natural. A thing that we say very natural all the time. I'm thirsty, I want something to drink. All the natural things that we would say, I want us to get that. All right? Okay? So, first and foremost, we have out here our Hebrew sheet. Right? The infamous ISUPK Hebrew sheet. Okay. This, as I said last week, this Hebrew sheet is stolen by many Israelite groups. Our Hebrew sheet will have Israelite school of UPK at the top. Other Israelite groups will cut it off at the top and have this like it's their own. It's a very, very wrong thing for them to do, but that's what they do out there. Just to show that it comes from here. Everything comes from here. By the way, the Lashon Kodash, right? You got the camera there too, sir? The Lashon Kodash is reputed to be, some people accuse us of making up the language, right? Because it was something that wasn't out there in the earth, right? As a dialect until head priest Marshall, head priest Yeshaya, and Commander Jehanam came across books that said that the Hebrew had no vowels, and they got books from Yale University, right? So, on that topic, right quick, we have a scripture that is Zephaniah 3:9, and it says, in the context coming up, referring to World War III, it says, during the coming up to World War III, in verse 9 it says, for then I will turn to the people a pure language, that they may call upon the name of the Most High, to serve him with one consent. From the top, it says, turn the people to a pure language. So whatever Hebrew you have out there, it's not the pure language. If it has contaminations, with such contaminations being European vowels, they were not there from the beginning. You put that with Jeremiah 6:16, where the Lord, through Jeremiah, said that we have to look for the old path. I'm going to get this scripture for you, right? So you're not confused with what we're talking about, right? Right? Find the old path. This is Jeremiah. We're going to go to Jeremiah 6:16. Jeremiah 6, verse 16. It says, thus saith the Lord, meaning there's a commandment coming. This is with a commandment from the Most High. Stand in the ways. So you look at all of the ways of life that you could go through. You could go down a way when you speak Arabic to talk to God. You could go down a way where you talk some Indian namaste to talk to God. Or you could look for a way where you have to speak ancient Hebrew. You got to go to the pure language. And see, look at these ways. And it says, and ask for the old paths. So you're going to ask, which language is the oldest? Which path in my communication to God, which pathway is the oldest? The oldest is the ancient Hebrew that you read about in Genesis. The language that the Babylonians spoke, which was the ancient Hebrew. Right? Furthermore, the ancient Babylonians had a god that they called Shamash. Hold on. The ancient Babylonians, they had a god that they called Shamash. Right? Shamash. And that was, to them, that was a sun god. Of course, the Jewish man, he calls his son Shemesh with an E. He calls God Shemesh. And he pronounced it just like that. He pronounced it like Shemesh. But the ancient Babylonians who spoke, with all the earth and one language and one tongue, they called on their God Shamash. And when they called on their God, they were worshiping the sun. Alright? So now I gotta look at the new Hebrew, the Neo Hebrew, right? Which is what the man walking around with the kufi in Crown Heights, wearing the yarmulke, right? Wearing the tassels on the t-shirts and the belt loops. He looks at the sun and says that the name of the sun is Shemesh. I mean, he calls it Shemesh. But the ancient Babylonians, they said the sun was Shamash. Shamash is the sun, all right? Shamash is where you get the name Samson. Samson, his name is Shamash 1. To denote, I don't want to guess. Let me get a concordance here. All right. Let me get a concordance right here. Let's go Samson right quick. Okay. Here we go. We got some sunshine. It's in here. It's not hot in here. Okay. I'm looking for Shamash. Okay, Shalah. Here we go. Shalah, Shamar, Shamar. Alright, Shamar. Shawam. 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 Okay, there we go. Shalah. Shalah means send. Shalat means to dominate. Shalal means pray that you get from war. Shalom means peace. It says shalom, y'all, not shalom. Shalom. Alright, I'm trying to pass all of these laws, these shalahs, to get the shamas. Right? For the middle alphabet, the middle letter will go in alphabetical order. Here we go. Sham, which means name. Okay? Okay? Shema. I'm looking for Shamash. Shamal. Shaman is oil. Alright, that's the oil we pour on the head. Shaman. Alright. We got Shamar, which means watch or guard. And then I want Shamar. Quara Shah. Should be right up here somewhere. After the Ra's. There we go. Shamash. There we go. There we go. Shamash. There we go. And on his root meaning to be the sun. The sun also used to be brilliant. In other words, the person is shining. You look at him and say, brother, the sun is shining on you. In other words, in the sense of you are brilliant. Okay? Good. That's the sun. Right? Shamash. Concordance code 8121. I've got to get the thing on the screen to see if it's even visible. Okay. Give me 1 second, y'all. And then after Shamash, I want to get Shamash 1. It should be in here somewhere. There we go. Alright. We got everybody coming in. Right? Who we got in here? Nashama. Big up to Nashama. Buffalo, what's going on? America Burning. I see you in class every day, y'all. Every day you're in class. Big up to you, America is Burning, right? Make sure you're checking in with your camp leader. All right, your Paulo Tazara, young man Nathan in Buffalo. Hey, shalom, what's going on? All right. Hey, your Quatazar, good to hear from you, man. Your Quatazar. Right, big up Long Island in the chicken, all right? Okay? And don't forget to share this, alright? Share this. Like, subscribe. That's what we are. What's going on, man? Aurora, Sister Aurora. Hey, shalom, sis. Kalat from Tennessee. Sharash from St. Louis. Bruce, good to see you, Bruce. Alright? Good. Who's that over there? Okay, good. Alright. Don't forget now, man. If you got any questions, I think everybody that's signing in. It's very encouraging to hear from you. Right? Even our King told his disciples that communication is key. The sacrifice of communication, the Lord is well pleased by your sacrifices of communication. Where you could think that your communication is not necessary to communicate and say anything, but the Lord put it in that New Testament to improve the brotherhood, all right, and the family structure. All right? So we got 8121, which is Shamash. Now, let me see if you can see here. Right? Zoom in. So they want to do it without the camera. There we go. You can see it now. There we go. And it says, that's how the Jewish man right there. They say Shemesh. They say Shemesh. Okay, good. Now I want Samson. Samson's name right here. Samson. His name is I might have spelled it slightly incorrectly. It's Shamashan. Right? Shamashan. Oh no, there's a Y in there. I spelled it right. Shamash 1. Alright, so you get some one out there. Shamash 1. There's a Y right there. Mm-hmm. Right up on that shah right there, that middle, that shah in the middle. There's a Y right connected to it, right? And his name translates to sunlight. Now the one at the end of the word does not mean light. The same way how as the one in Shemai 1 does not mean light. Light is a war. Okay? Who else got a one in it? Zabala 1. The one in Zabala 1 does not mean light. Right? I gotta say that because there's a way our people are made to think when they want to impose that they somehow know more than you without studying. I had a battle one time in my slavery with a Christian, and he asked me what was God's name. However, the conversation came up, and I told him Yahweh. He asked me what was Jesus' name. I said Yahweh Shai. And he turned around to me. God's name is Yahweh, Son, and Jesus is the Son of God. Shai means son. That's what he said to me, which is incorrect and wrong. Right? Yahweh Shai, where God's name is Yahweh, and the part that sounds like Yahweh in Jesus' name is not God's name in Yahweh Shai's name. Right? And Yahweh Shai's name does not translate to the Son of God. His title as a person is being the Son of God. But the definition of his name is not Son of God. The same way how Shemashwan's name, Samson right here, means sunlight. Okay? And I cannot change the definition of his name by my own understanding of things that I know nothing about. I gotta go according to what is the makeup of the word, right? And what is from the information that has been discovered about his name with records of his name. Alright? So for those who don't know, it's a good one too. Right, Yahweh Shai, right? Let's break down Yahweh Shai right quick, just in case nobody doesn't know. The Jewish man, right? Shamash. Let me get the Shamash before we get to Yahweh Shai's name. Right? So we're gonna go to right quick. We're gonna go to the Britannica. Right? We're gonna go to something, the World Encyclopedia, which is the Britannica. Okay? And I want to see if we can share this page with you, right? Quick share screen. Click on Britannica. Share. Good. Alright, share. I want to put it up here with me. Right? Right? So we can get it a little bigger. Right? I want to go to Encyclopedia Britannica. And And I want to put in, let me try to put it in the way that's not so obvious. I'm going to put it, what is the sun god of Babylon? Babylon, where they all spoke one language, Hebrew, right? For those who don't know what I'm talking about from the King James Version, where it said in Genesis, right, chapter 11, right, where it said this thing right here. It said this thing right here. And the whole earth was of one speech, one language, right? And the whole earth was of one language. I want the part where it's honing on one language. If you see that there, one language, right? That's how it was in Babylon. Okay? Good. Going back to the Britannica. They put in that right there. What is the sun god of Babylon? And it goes and says what? Shamash. Shamash. Right? The Mesopotamian god. And now Mesopotamia is talking about that same old land over there between the Euphrates. The Euphrates and the what's that main one again? Google Maps. Right? We'll show it on the map right here. Right, we go all the way. We're going to leave our prison country called America. Right? We're going to leave our prison country called America, and we're going to look at on the satellite. Right? We go in now and we just type in the Euphrates River. The Tigris. Okay? The Tigris and Euphrates. So we're talking about this area which is kind of sort of like modern day Iraq. Right? We got the Euphrates River. Right? You can see the Euphrates River. That's the land we're talking about where they worship this god called Shamash, where the whole earth spoke one language and, everybody spoke this Hebrew. Let me put the Tigris to see where the Tigris is. You see the red point pointing towards where the Euphrates is. Right? The Tigris River also in Iraq. Also in, I think they call it Iraq in America, right? The Tigris River. Right? Okay? So the Tigris River is running over here, and the Euphrates is running over here. Alright, let me just do it again, see if we can go back and it changes that, right? Okay? 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 Got one river. It's saying that the Tigris and the Euphrates are near to each other. Okay? No problem. I wonder if we can get it on a different kind of map. Let me just go to Google itself and put it Euphrates. Euphrates, let me put Tigris also. Euphrates Tigris to see what it gives us. I never did a search like this before. Okay, there we go. There we go. Open image in a new tab. We'll share this. Share this tab instead, right? Zoom up. There we go, right? So this is the place that we're looking at on that same Google Maps, right? And you can see the Euphrates and Tigris. Now, Babylon was right in the area, right in between this Tigris and Euphrates, because of course in the old culture, or even today, where it's good to build a city right around water. So New York is built around water. Philadelphia is built around water. Baltimore is built around water. Washington, D.C., Boston is built up around water because that's how things travel by boats. They travel easier and swifter and faster, more efficient by boats in the old culture. So cities are built around those things because they will be the center or the metropolis of trade. Trade happens on the river. All right, goods going up and down the river from city to city by these waters. All right, good. So that's the place we're talking about. All right, let me see if I can get something on Google Maps. Buffalo is built around water also, Sir Salaki. You're damn right, the questions are. That is absolutely true. And that's why Buffalo is there. I could do this all day. Let me look at Buffalo right quick. Let me see the Buffalo, the water around Buffalo that he's talking about. Let me show you this tab. We go to Buffalo, what do we see there? Yes, we do see water around Buffalo. Right? We see water and a river, the Niagara River, going up and down between Buffalo, right? Okay. And I want the, and there's a brother up in upstate New York too called Nahar Allah. That Nahar means river. Nahar Allah, river of the Most High God, all right? Good, right? Okay. And I want to see, I want to get from, Google, I want to get the Babylon's location. Commander Johanna had a book called, I can't remember the name of the book. Right, but she'll have, but you want to look up Commanding Johanna's book list. Right, you want to stay on that, right? And you want to look for books that have locations and stuff in there. Or, things in the Bible, locations. Those are all good so you can understand what's going on when you're reading this Bible. It helps open up a bigger picture for you to understand what's going on. Okay? So, there we go. Here's another map. Babylonia at the time of Hammurabi. Shamash, the sun god, was worshipped in this time of Hammurabi. You've all heard the Hammurabi codes, but the Hammurabi, the king Hammurabi, he stole from the Bible, right? Meaning he stole the laws of the Israelites. Where he had a law, a famous law that says, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Even though it's in the Bible, heathens put that saying to Hammurabi. Right? These heathen pieces of garbage. Right? They didn't give the Lord the glory, but gave it to some heathen man that turned to dust and is now nothing and non-existent. Nobody cares about him anymore. Alright, we see Babylon right here. We see the Tigris. The Tigris over here, one side, right? We got the Euphrates River Indian territory. We got the city section is right here in the red right here. And then this orange part would be their territories. Alright, so the Tigris and the Euphrates is right up in there. You know what I mean? The curse of the sons of God is that heathens get up and all the things good in the earth, just like today. So they got all the rivers and everything good going on, right? No problem. Right? We go to the Britannica, about their Mesopotamian god, and they got a god that they call Shamash. They got this god that they call Shamash. When you see this word Shamash, right? This Shamash is Lashawan Quadash in your encyclopedia. That is what you're looking at right here. Right? This is not Babylonian talk. This is not Ugaritic. Right? This is not cuneiform. This is ancient Hebrew. Lashon Kodash. Moses called the son using the same word. Abraham called the son using the same word. Adam called the son using the same word, but they did not worship it. Right? They did not worship the thing that they call Shamash. They worshiped another God, the true God, which nobody could see, but the heathens wanted to worship a thing that they could see. So nowadays, for Freemasonry, they call it the All Sinai or something like that, which is just sun worship all over again. Right? Putting the sun aura behind holy figures on a picture is worshiping the sun. That's the thing that they were at the Council of Nicaea. They did that thing to try to put in the pagan worshiping of the sun onto biblical figures. All right, right. And they in Babylon they call that sun that they worship Shamash, which was Lashon Kodash in the ancient times. All right, from the ancient times. Landon Valentine says, I'm pretty sure black culture has enough problems already without adding Hebrew cosplay to the mix. Landon Valentine, right? You want to go into a book about black history, and you want to look up what was the ethnicity of the people that you now say, gave birth to black culture. Right? So of course there are many black people in the world, there are many dark-skinned people in the world, and all dark-skinned people are not the same. Right? So there are black, dark-skinned people in India. All right, I can go look them up. Alright, we're gonna look at dark skinned